I'm deep in Pine Point debt, says Mitch Meseroli. Don't get in debt. Live live within your means. You can sleep better at night when you don't have debt. True story. Satan told me, Linguisti, there's no pine points today. I'm kidding. 1,000 pine points to you, Linguisti. I know you've tried for a long time. Justin Maurer, PhD in PineCreek Studies. He has watched every video I have. And if you do that, you earn a PhD, which is just as important as a PhD in theology. Ooh, 500 pine points to you. And Genuinely Curious, 250 pine points to you. Thank you. Who's not good enough today? Robert Ingersoll. Sorry, you're not good enough. Prophet of Zod. Who's that? And PineCreek started at the same time. I know who Prophet of Zod is, I think. It's the guy with the fuzzy face, right? Hey, Prophet of Zod. Is that the guy with the fuzzy face and wears black? Show your face. Let those theists know where your soul's at behind those eyes. Okay, so this is a call-in show. The way you call in is you type on your keyboard, because you all have Apple IIe's at home. Type www.whereby.com / which is right next to the right shift button, PineCreek, all one word. And then you can come talk to me about what is it exactly that you don't like about theists if you're an atheist, and what if you're a theist, what is it in your interactions with atheists don't you like? A lot of people have been talking about this lately, but only I allow people to call in and express their frustrations verbally. By the way, today's broadcast is brought to you by Sparkling Ice. They're not paying me to say this, but they love me. They've been tweeting me. Sparkling Ice. This is the coconut pineapple flavor. My favorite is the grapefruit, but I drink it so fast I have none left. It's a true story. You hear that, Sparkling Ice? Like, my wife buys like 12 at a time, and within a couple days, it's all gone. Like, not only does it look good and taste good, but it even sounds good. Can you hear that? Maybe I have my gatekeeper sound thing too low. But it's very refreshing. So I bet we can save the world, save the planet, if theists and atheists got together and both drank Sparkling Ice. Isn't this a Christian channel? Yes, it is a Christian channel, because I've been saved, as 1 Corinthians 6 says. I've been sanctified by my believing wife. Just drank my last one today. Oh, your last Sparkling Ice? Sparkling Ice, are you listening? People are drinking, who watch this channel are drinking Sparkling Ice so fast that we can't keep up. Okay. Did you hear the fizz? Did it work? Oh, sorry. That's so rude to have a beverage orgasm on air. All right. Please forgive me, theists. I know atheists don't care. They're just debauched anyhow, and they have no moral compass. So one thing that I'll start. You can call in and tell me what you don't like about the other side. But let me start. If you don't want to call in, you can tag me. Tag, for the people who live in Georgia or North Carolina, tag is like when you hit the shift button on a keyboard. Oh, most of you kids don't even have keyboards anymore. You guys just use your smartphone. But anyhow, if you're an old fart like me, it's the shift number 2. You got to put that first, and then you type in my name, PineCreek, and then you'll see a pop-up. A pop-up is when something pops up on the screen, and then you left click with your mouse, and you can do things. We should have a whole class on teaching boomers how to use the internet, right? You Gen Zers, you need to help your parents. One thing that bothers me about theists is they don't come out and say what this is all about. Here's an example that I want to show you. This is Trent Horn, who loves me, by the way, on his channel, The Council of Trent, talking about his debate with Matt Dillahunty. And it's an hour and 43 minutes long, but for about 1 minute, he talks about what it's all really about. And I want to play this.
They're very rude on the internet to come to know Jesus Christ. And so it's maddening to me. They are ensnared and kept from Christ.
Oh, I got to back it up a little bit more.
Debate about First Clement. So he's writing sometime between 60 and 90, depending on how you're going to date it. Matt, what are you talking about? That's like our contemporary earliest source. Our earliest source are the letters of Paul.
Right.
And the earliest source in them are the creeds that he contains in places like 15.
Which predate Paul. At least the writings.
Right.
Predate him.
Oh, absolutely. 1 Corinthians 15 has been dated. Some people have dated it to within months.
No, the creed within 1 Corinthians 15 has been dated by some within months. You know what? For a guy like me, if it was dated within seconds, it doesn't make a difference. Like if someone came up to you and says, my grandfather could fly unaided, and then you count to 5 seconds after that, and then you write it down, you're not going to believe it, right?
Of the resurrection. And so what's hard is, Matt, and I get frustrated, Michael, but it's a frustration of sadness that, like, I want atheists, even atheists that are very rude on the internet, to come to know Jesus Christ.
Why? This is what frustrates me about Christians in particular, and even, I guess, Muslims. Why? Come out and say it before you even interact with any atheist, non-Christian. Let us know why exactly you're frustrated or sad, and why you want people to know Jesus Christ. Why? I know the answer to that question, but I want you to declare it for the world to hear. There's actually several answers to that question.
And so it's maddening to me. They are ensnared and kept from Christ by very simple errors. Like, for example, if you can't prove it outside of the Bible, I'm not going to believe it.
Is it that, though? Because I honestly think if you could correct these things.
By the way, in case you don't know the answer, why a person like Trent Horn wants people to know Jesus. The number one reason, if we were playing Family Feud survey, says the number one answer at the very top of the board is so you don't burn in hell. Trent Horn believes this, I'm quite sure, in the traditional view of hell. So Trent Horn, what bothers, I think, me and a lot of other atheists is just out of the gate say, look, what all this is about is I don't want you to go to hell. Like, sure, and plus, I want you to go to heaven and spend eternity with Jesus. But more importantly, I don't want you to go to hell. And then the second reason you can say, well, it's only Christians that can have a strong moral fabric in society, and you don't want your kids to do drugs, right? And you don't want your kids to be gay, right? Well, I'm being a little facetious. Not all Christians, of course, believe that. But let people know this is what it's all about and why someone should even care about what you have to say. That brings me to my second point of what bothers me about theists and Christians in particular, is you have to be okay with atheists like me. Well, I don't dismiss you because I have a YouTube channel where I mostly talk about you guys. So I'm on your side on this one. But you have to be okay with atheists just dismissing you and not caring about you and what you have to say and say, okay. And then you have to take that sadness that you have deep inside you and that frustration that you have for like guys like Matt Dillahunty and be okay with it, for goodness sake. God is sovereign. He's in control, right? Like, it boggles, speaking of Matt Dillahunty, it boggles my, whoa, what just happened? Amanda McGovern says, not gonna lie, I bought sparkling ice recently because of PineCreek. You listening, Sparkling Ice? Oh, man. I think they would already be sponsoring me if I wasn't a phony atheist. Yeah. Speaking of Matt Dillahunty, it boggles my mind how much they get kerfuffled. That's a Canadian word for irked and feathers ruffled. Kerfuffled. Oh, hang on. I just got a text. Oh, it's from Jesus. He said, Thursday mornings is bath time. Can you postpone your live stream for a few minutes because he really wants to watch? No, Jesus, if you're watching right now, you can watch while you take a bath. Wait a minute, you're dirty? Jesus can't be dirty. But anyhow, it boggles my mind that Christians like Trenhorn and others will say, well, Matt has no good marker in his life to become a Christian. He just says this rhetorical device only God would know. Like, why does that bother you so much? Just live with it. Thank you for the donation, Kent Hoven CPA. I don't like theists like Cyanide and Mike Right-Winger, but you got to give me a reason, Kent Hoven's CPA. Oh, and I think I did find someone is wanting to call in. So let me... Linguisti. No face, please, on stream. Okay, there's no... Yes, you're fine.
Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I hope that you didn't hide my face, but thank you. Hello, Doug. So I do have a question, and my question would be about, first of all, am I allowed to ask questions about atheists while being an atheist?
Sure.
Or is it...
But I'd still want you to tell me what bothers you about either atheists or theists.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of things. So I guess my first question would be, honestly, you're doing that for entertainment, as far as I understand. But do you care about your, let's say, quote unquote, community being toxic in chat? Like in chat or in the comments of other people's videos and stuff like that. What is your take on that?
Yeah, I've deleted a lot of people.
Okay. Yeah, so the reason I'm asking that
it's tough though, because sometimes it's very clear and direct in its personal attack, a very vulgar one against a human being. And other times it's like almost, it's not personally attacked, but it's implied that it is. And then other times it's completely, this is what I think of theists in general. I think they're a-holes, and so but basically it's my channel. So I got to, make the decisions.
Yeah. So the reason I'm asking that is because like being an atheist, you feel like, hey, maybe everybody thinks like I do. And then you can just come to a realization, okay, no, that's not a thing. You go to theist videos, you go to theist streams, and you see a lot of atheists are just being so incredibly toxic. Like they are calling people dumb, they're calling people insane, irrational, whatever.
Atheists you're talking about? Yeah,
atheists, not theists, atheists specifically. Just being obnoxious with the language that they use. I
can do that, right?
I can, yeah, sure. Sure. So, and I kind of lost my train of thought, but yeah. My point is that like sometimes I feel like people are just either they're not realizing that being obnoxious like that is it's not efficient, or they're just making a bad face. Like how do you say that in English? They just make a bad picture of us. So what are your thoughts on that? Like, do you feel like having a civil conversation is always the best idea?
To be honest, I don't care that much if someone makes atheism look bad.
Yeah, sure.
I don't care. If there are obnoxious atheists out there who's making atheism bad, who cares?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay,
but I don't think some Christians can say that. They can say, but no, this is so important. And some people will not find Christ if you are a hypocrite and you call yourself a Christian. And so we got to call these people out. And see, atheism doesn't have that problem. It's not like you're going to lose your eternal destiny or anything like that. To be honest, I kind of like it when people have a bad impression of me.
Interesting.
Because of other people. It's like, because then the expectations, the bar is so low. It's like, I can just dismiss him or whatever. But then they hear something I say for 1 second that they agree with, and their whole world's turned upside down. Here's this guy that I thought was just a morally depraved, debauched fool, and he says something that I've said, and now I got to reassess things. So in a way, it's good.
Okay. Well, again, maybe I said make atheism look bad or whatever. Yeah, that's not probably what I mean. But what would you say would you like to see? I know you kind of don't care about it too much, but if you would go to a theist stream and you're like enjoying your time, talking with somebody, and then you see this guy, saying, "Hey, you," and insert the name calling thing, and they just start like being sort of obnoxious. So, what would you rather see? Atheist, making fun of theist, which is sometimes is pretty fun, like calling them sky
I think
daddy or
it's
something.
I hear your question. I think it's more productive to do something like street epistemology or cognitive coaching, which sounds it sounds like you're treating people like children, but
teaching them.
But basically, civility works better than calling people a-holes.
Okay, well, I don't think I have.
By the way,
I knew the answer, but
I think I saw you the other day on a live stream. Is that true? Were you on a live stream yesterday?
Well, for me, it is today because I'm from Ukraine. In my day, yes, you did. Yeah.
And
that was me.
You were employing a little bit of street epistemology, even though you might not call it that.
Well, I do watch your channel on mostly daily basis. It's impossible for me not to do
Wasn't it you who asked what's the second best explanation for something? And my heart melted. I was just like,
I learned from you. I'm sorry, but no,
it's good.
I'm at the same time, I'm being honest. Like, I'm not like there just to, to pretend. I was honestly telling my story and trying to ask a real question that I have in my brain. And I was, my whole idea of, I went to LPP's stream and they were trying to tell me, hey, it doesn't make sense that there is no God. And I would say, well, it does make sense. We have planets and we have everything. Maybe like some planet blew up and made the Big Bang, whatever. I don't want to get too deep into it. But thanks for all of the techniques that you do. It's really fun watching your channel. I really have learned a lot. I think that's the main reason why I watch you. I learn a lot from you. And I am trying to utilize a lot of those techniques in my daily conversations.
So you mentioned this is what one thing you don't like about atheists is that they basically are rude. What's one thing you don't like about theists?
What do I not like about theists? That's a great question. Honestly, if I think about it, what do I not like about theists? Well, if I say that sometimes they don't want to think about things as much, I would think that would be rude because maybe I'm biased towards saying that. I don't know, just maybe same thing about atheists and theists. I think they share the same thing, just name calling each other. I think that's the main problem, not being open-minded, but I think that can be said about atheists as well. I don't think there's anything specific I can point at. Maybe somebody else can come here and point something out, but I don't think there's anything I can really say here.
Well, that's a good point. There's rudeness on both sides.
So yeah, that was pretty much it.
Okay, well, thanks for hopping on.
Yeah, thank you, Doug. You're making my day, so every day. So please stream more. 3 hours is definitely not enough for me.
Oh, come on,
consider that.
Okay,
so yeah,
bye.
Have a good one. Bye.
So yeah, feel free to call in and tell me what you don't like about atheists or what you don't like about theists when it comes to interacting with them. I just watched a live stream with on Capturing Christianity's channel. And it's like, here's another thing I don't like is the hypocrisy. And nobody loves hypocrisy. But I heard, there was a couple things. I heard Cameron Bertuzzi admit that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. And depending on how you define those terms, that it's true. And it's like, would he have said that 3 years ago? So it's progress in a sort. But it's like there's so many videos I could bring up, and definitely other theists like him who would really have pushed back hard on that. And now it seems like they're realizing no, people like PineCreek are catching us in the hypocrisy, and so now we have to say, yeah, we do need extraordinary evidence for extraordinary claims. I wonder if he's changed his mind on this because of how he talked about Roman Catholic claims and how he just doesn't seem like he believes it. Another thing that bothers me about theists, the hypocrisy, is I've been saying this for years, that oftentimes what people say is the reason they believe are not really the reasons they believe, and that there's other factors. A lot of them have nothing to do with the facts or the evidence, but something else in their life. I've been saying this for years. I get accused of being a psychologizer, and now I heard Cameron say basically the same thing today on his channel, that human beings are very horrible at assessing evidence and so forth, which is what I've been saying forever. Okay, Molken, can I show your face or no?
Yes, you can.
Excellent. Yeah, and if you do, when you hop on, make sure your YouTube is off.
It is.
Very good. So what don't you like? I'm going to guess you're an atheist, right?
I am, yeah.
Because I recognize your name.
I've been here once. I've got 500 Pine Points. I'm saving it up.
There you
for
go.
some good stuff. I'd say one of the things that I dislike. There's a number of things, but I would say most recently is how thin-skinned they are. Especially about being mocked. I'll watch a lot of your stuff.
Oh, now you're hitting it home. I agree with you.
You know, it's interesting. Speaking of capturing Christianity, he's done a lot about. What did he do a video on? It was a couple months ago about suffering and how they kind of answer the suffering and how it's good for character building. And it's like, well, if you think that's what character building is how suffering is going to equate to your time in the afterlife, then you should be thanking atheists for mocking you, because we're just character building.
Yeah, good point. Okay, so you don't like it when theists complain about being mocked. What's something you don't like about atheists?
I would say about the initial guy that was in. I would say is the concern trolling. I'll say is there's going to be people on both sides. They're going to be rude, and welcome to the internet. You're going to see people who are rude on all sides, and especially one thing that you got to realize is that there are people of all ages. You're going to have people who are 40 years old, 50, 60, and then you're going to have kids who are 13, 14 on the internet, probably using it for the first time. And there are going to be people who are going to be saying stuff that they look back at that 30 years down the road, and they might think, oh, I could have handled that a little bit more maturely.
Do you think a 50-year-old can handle rudeness better than a 20-year-old?
Sometimes. I mean, there's Darth Dawkins, so...
Yeah, I wonder how old he is. He never shows his face, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's true.
Well, thanks for hopping on. I got some other people who want to come on.
Sounds good.
Ooh, 2 PineCreeks for the price of 1. I got 2 people on here. I'll start with Ray. Let me remove Gabe. Gabe, you can call back in. Ray, you're muted. Go in the bottom.
I'm not muted anymore.
There you go. Can I show your face?
Hey. Yeah, sure.
So what don't you like about theists? And what? Oh, well, first of all, you're a theist or an atheist?
Atheist.
Okay. What don't you like about theists?
Double standard of evidence.
Can you be more specific? What do you mean by that?
Oh,
I think I know what you mean, but...
Okay, yeah.
You're basically saying that their standards for, let's say, Jesus rising from the dead is one way, but their standards for is equal claim in another religion, they would never believe it. That sort of thing?
That sort of thing. And my particular example I was thinking is in terms of if you were to present something like evidence for a scientific theory, they'd want you to be a subject matter expert to the point where there is zero doubt on anything. There could not be anything that's unknown. But they have a lot of unknowns, and they're fine with it. And that's what I consider a double standard of evidence.
Yeah, like the DNA code. How could we have this type of sophisticated information in DNA through evolution? Explain to me how that happened. And then when you ask, well, how did God do it? Well, he just did it. He spoke it.
Yeah, I find that frustrating.
I hear you. Do you find anything frustrating about atheists?
Yeah. In terms of certain, I'm okay with mocking in a playful way, but sometimes it just goes too far. and it destroys conversations to the point where the theist is already ready for something. And for example, I posted a comment to a YouTube. Oh, wait a minute, what was it? It was you're saying when you were in Hamza's den.
Mm-hmm.
Hamza was mocking something about atheists. He was saying I forgot what he's repeating over and over again. It's like 3 or 4 times. And when he did that, Asadullah hung his head in his hands. So I put a comment. I said, hey, look what Asadullah did right at 6 minutes and 13 seconds.
I think I saw that comment, actually.
So I got a response from that was sort of like, it was accusing me of thinking I was smart because I'm an atheist. He came at me at the wrong way. He assumed certain intents that I didn't have. To me, I was pointing out, hey, this guy may not agree with that guy, but he thought I was mocking. And that's what I think was, the road was already laid by other atheists, I think. But maybe I'm wrong.
Okay. Anything else?
No, there are other things, but those are only things worth sharing right now.
Okay. Well, thanks for coming on, Ray.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Yeah, this whole if my channel accomplishes anything, it's to have theists think twice before using the word mock. Because I'm not alone in this. I think a lot of atheists, when we hear you use the word mock, and in the many years I've been doing this, I don't think I've ever seen an atheist say, stop mocking me, or mocking my disbelief, or my no belief. We judge you as something's wrong with you internally if you are so thin-skinned and insecure that someone disagreeing or even saying bad things about what you believe, I don't know. I just think as an adult, you have to learn to deal with it.
Or my no belief.
Okay, Gabe, you're first. I see you, Kathy, but just hang on a second. I'm going to mute you. I remember you, Kathy. I don't remember you, Gabe. Can I show your face?
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Okay. Are you a theist or an atheist?
I am an atheist.
Okay. And what don't you like about theists when you interact with them?
So I think the thing that comes up for me is that Christians who are apologists, I often find that even if they don't accept presuppositionalism, still act like presuppositionalists in a couple of key ways.
Okay. What are those key ways?
The first one is that there is this idea that if you have not been regenerated by the Holy Spirit, that your eyes are darkened. So in some sense, even if you engage in all these sophisticated intellectual arguments, ultimately there's this assumption that you probably don't fully understand what you're talking about because your eyes have been darkened, so to speak.
Oh, yeah. Yep, I agree with that. Was there another way that they're like precepts?
Yeah, I think the other one that comes up for me is the idea of it relates to hell, actually. I think one thing that you've brought up quite a bit is how much hell does influence a lot of Christians' thinking. And I think the big thing for me is that one thing that Christians do is at some level, they have to become comfortable with the idea that in order to be in agreement with God, that the atheists that they interact with, even if they're, nice and interacting on an intellectual level, that they are actually deserving of hell. And, it's funny how we talk about, you don't want to be offended one way or another, but if you were going to say that to someone's face, someone might take offense at that, saying, you know what, you are worthy of eternal damnation and torment. It's like, and that's why there's all this weird cognitive dissonance, right? So
yeah. I kind of like it though when Christians say that to me, that I deserve hell. It's kind of fun because
some don't like to say it. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's true. And this is what I was saying about Trent Horn. Just come out and say directly that the issue here is about hell and you deserve it and only Christ can pay for that or absolve you of that or atone for it.
I'm not the one to judge. God's yeah, but if you're in agreement with God and his laws and his ways, and if you say, well, if you do in fact believe these things, then yes, you are worthy and deserving of hell. And it just makes too many Christians uncomfortable, even though they have to assent to that in their intellectual processes.
But they look at you, Gabe. I can tell you're a nice guy, and they look at me and they go, "But Gabe and Doug, they're so likable, and yet they're going to burn in hell forever." For those who believe in the traditional view, and it really sets up a really nice cognitive dissonance for them to wrestle with. Their own kids probably too. Like if there's a Christian parent listening and their children are not believers, and they know they're great kids, and they're like, "What, God, what's going on here?" Just because they don't accept certain propositions that they're going to suffer for eternity.
Yeah, and it's just it's kind of funny when you're in that bubble. I was in that bubble. Like you don't really fully understand how weird that sounds. The outsider test of faith until you are outside of that bubble, and you're like, wow, it's because you were just raised to think that way. That that's normal, of course. That believing a proposition is what makes you worthy of damnation or not, at least for some Christians, anyways.
Well, so what don't you like about atheists?
For atheists, if I was going to put one critique, it does seem that some of them do have a bit of contempt for philosophy.
Oh, that hit me hard.
I know. And listen, I think that
you cut me deep, Gabe.
In what I might call folk philosophy. I actually think it's very effective. But I think there's some atheists who just don't. So if they appeal to things like the burden of proof, like you might think that you might want to lay some sort of a foundation for what that is and why you think that matters. Like, I know sometimes we don't care too much about court analogies, but like, I don't think court analogies are necessarily great because we're trying to figure out what's true, not trying to figure out whether we're going to convict somebody or not.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, some people called me a philosopher, even though I don't study philosophy. So I just do it naturally.
Yeah, and philosophers can be annoying, to be fair.
Oh, yeah, very. Okay, take care.
Have a good one.
And Kathy, I'm assuming I can show your face? Oh, I got to unmute you here. How you doing, Kathy?
I'm doing great. Thank you. I'm not an atheist.
Oh.
So I can't say, I'm a Christian, but I'm not an atheist.
Okay,
yet.
so you're some type of general.
Sure I ever will be.
You're some type of general wishy-washy theist.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this is pretty still new for me. So, but I do have observations from both sides that it does bother me.
Okay, hit me with one on each side.
Okay, for theists, it just boggles my mind that they cannot accept that they cherry pick things from the Bible. They won't see it, point it out to them. They just won't accept it, and I that's a closed mind. And
Jesus likes to have children on his knee, and he also likes to drown them in the Old Testament, that sort of thing.
Yes,
okay.
They can't put those two things together. For atheists, the only thing, if you're going to use the Bible in your argumentation, you should know it thoroughly. I don't like when they use points that if the person they were actually speaking to knew anything of the Bible, they could just discount it immediately. I don't think you should use like the Old Testament law against a Christian because they're not in it. Jesus did away with that. So like, you have to use.
But every dot and tittle will not be removed.
I know, but most modern Christians believe that was done away with when Jesus died. That the new laws in effect. So just little things like that. I wish, because I'm thinking, they're gonna just be able to tear that right down. And
but you know what bothered me when I was a Christian was I agree with you what you just said, but yet. These commandments to the Israelites, like if your spouse leaves the faith, the husband should be the first one to pick up the stone and stone his own wife, that sort of thing. These commands, at face value anyhow, were uttered by the creator of the universe. And sure, these commands are now done away with through Jesus. But at one point in history, this is what Jesus, as a being of God, said.
Which I think I think Christians should realize that. But they don't. So, but if you're going to use it, make sure you know, like I would never debate somebody on the Quran because I don't know it well enough to be able to do that. So.
Yeah, well, that's why I had an expert come in named Apostate Prophet the other day.
I watched.
Well, he didn't want to be called an expert. Sorry, apostate prophet. Someone who's still quite knowledgeable about it. And 76% of Muslims thought he did a pretty good job. Gave him an A grade. Was there anything else that you don't like about atheists or theists?
Well, I really haven't known any atheists that I knew of until I met you. And you actually told me I was no longer Christian the first time I talked to you. And I kind of thought I still was. But when you asked me if Jesus died and rose again, I said no. And you're like, well, then you're not a Christian. I honestly didn't know that until I didn't like.
Well,
tell
according to
you,
Paul,
but I
at
was
least.
like, what? So
Yeah.
thanks for that. No.
So did that bother you? Like, did you have like an existential crisis that day?
For like 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah, it was horrible. But I got through it. So
Okay.
I'm in a better place.
Yeah, don't go away. I want to say something to some atheists listening who say I maybe pick on people too much, but when I pick on Christians, it's not the same as, let's say, other people picking on trans people or gay people. I want to make a strong point that just my channel talking about Christianity does impact people in a negative way. Like Nathan from Digital Gnosis, he sometimes is on.
Yeah.
He told me that after my first conversation with him, he was literally physically sick for 3 days, like nauseous and just a wreck. And you said like it took 2 weeks to get over.
Yeah, definitely.
You realizing that you're no longer a Christian. Yeah. And so this is something that I sometimes think about. Should I be doing this if I'm hurting people in this way?
I'm glad you did.
You're glad that I made you feel bad for 2 weeks?
I spent the last, I don't know how many months ago, I talked to you probably I don't remember, but I just delved into it and studied that's all I did. Like I barely kept the house clean. I was just so that I could learn more. And then I realized, oh yeah, I'm not a Christian. Okay. But now I don't carry around the guilt I had before. So I don't feel guilty about not.
So it's worth it.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it. Absolutely. Free.
2 weeks of pain for a lifetime of joy and lowered cognitive dissonance. What do you got left? Oh, you're still young. You're not as old as I am, are you?
I'm probably older than you.
No.
Yeah, I'm 48.
Yeah, see, you're not older than me.
Oh, okay.
I'm 50.
Well, okay, well, we're close.
Yeah. So, yeah, you were in grade 10 when I was a senior.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to pick on kids like you. No, I'm
Yeah.
kidding. These freshmen, or no. See, in Canada, they don't use freshman or sophomore or senior. They just use grade 9, grade 10, grade 11, grade 12. So I always mix those things up. But I'm glad that you got over the 2 weeks of would you call it pain or would you just call it discomfort?
It was devastating. I mean, I knew I called in and said, well, I'm not a Christian anymore, but I really meant I wasn't a fundamentalist Christian anymore. I'm more of a super liberal, happy Christian. And you took away my little happy, the Bible's written by man, but that's okay kind of thing. And then I realized how I had been living in cognitive dissonance that whole time. And so, yeah, it was literally painful. And I didn't think I could tell anybody, even my husband. I was like, oh.
So does he know to this day?
Oh, he does now. I told him now. And
how did that go?
He saw some of your videos and he's like, I like that guy. He's really nice.
And how about your kids?
I don't know about my younger son. He knows. My older son, I think he's glad because he's come to the same conclusion that I had. So, because he's the one.
We talked about your son before, right?
So right, yeah. So I think he likes that. He's becoming more and more convinced that the God I raised him to believe in, it's just not true. So that takes away a whole life of condemnation from him. So yeah, so it's good. Okay,
well, I'm glad things are better for you and you're doing well.
Yeah, you too.
Take care.
Not bad. You're always good, but glad you do well. All right, bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, let's see. Make sure your YouTube is off when you first come in.
Like that.
Let's see. We go here. Oh boy. I'm going to mute. I got a lot of people in here. Let's see. Who should be first? Deepak, you can go first. And then I know and then we'll go to Cookie, and Sebastian. So let's see, make sure I got everybody muted, but Deepak. And Deepak, I can show your face, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So tell me one thing you don't like about atheists and one thing you don't like about theists when they interact with each other.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, to answer for atheists, it's kind of odd because it's like, it's like asking, what do you not like about non-stamp collectors? So kind of. But let me answer it for the kind of atheists you run in, like, who are active in their atheism, the ones who have YouTube channels, not all of them. But one thing I really don't like over most people who like defend atheism, I guess, is the way they like to bucket everything into fallacies, right? You just give it a name and that's it. I've disposed of your argument. And that's like one step is to say, hey, this is this kind of argument, and here's why in this case it's wrong. Because not all fallacies are always wrong.
Well, yeah, that's a pet peeve of mine because the term fallacy is usually restricted to syllogisms in a deductive or some type of syllogistic argument. And when you're just having a normal everyday conversation with someone and you say, that's a fallacy, that's an ad hominem, it's like, it's just so frustrating.
Yeah. Like even ad hominem sometimes can have some value in an argument, right? To say that, hey, that guy is saying this, but remember, this is the guy who lied about all these other things, and he's making some claims that depend on information only he has. So should we trust him on that? That can be, yeah.
I have a cousin, my favorite cousin, who is like me except on steroids. He has less of a filter, and he will just come out and look someone, a theist, in the face. Says, okay, prepare yourself. I'm about to unleash a torrent ad hominem attack on you. Here it comes. Be prepared. And he'll just go boom, 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 and just let the theist have it. And so sometimes maybe it's better just to acknowledge, yeah, I'm going to do what you call a fallacy, even though we're not doing a syllogism right now. So just accept it, and you have to, or you can leave. Okay, yeah, what don't you? Is it the same problem you have with theists? Because theists do that.
Oh, they do too, but I find, I don't know, relatively more often with atheists than atheists, because they like to bucket argue, because it's usually the theist who's presenting the argument, the atheist is dismissing it usually. So
okay.
What I don't like about theists, there's just too many of them. I'm sorry. I don't think theism would be a problem, except that most of the world just assumes you're a normal person if you believe in specific kind of God. They disagree about what kind of God, but the fact that you don't believe any of these things is somehow usually regarded as worse than all of the above. Right?
Yeah.
Like I seriously don't get that, right?
That's a good point, because oftentimes theists will talk to me about hope, meaning, and purpose. And I say, hey, look, really, what's the difference between a Hindu who believes in a false God, in your view, and an atheist like me who doesn't believe in any God? Why can they have hope, meaning, and purpose and not me? And that usually kind of stumps them.
Yeah, exactly. Like just one thing, like the other day, following like one of the links you had on one of your videos, I was watching like a 2-hour debate between James White and the crazy King JV only guy.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
And I mean, I before this, I was like, before I started watching your videos, like I was a complete outsider to Christianity. I had this very wishy-washy idea, and like for some reason, I started getting really obsessed by these ideas of Calvinism, and I don't know why. And then after like 1 hour of watching the video, I'm like, I'm basically watching like a debate between like Star Trek nerds about whether, Mr. Spock could beat a Romulan or something. And I'm like, why does this matter? And the answer is because there are so many of them, right?
That's such a dismissive comment, Deepak. Star Trek. We're talking about the God of the universe here.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But okay, I'm talking about like the way they were arguing about such specific things, like how many compartments does hell have? And at some point, one of them calls the other a heretic because he believes in the wrong number of compartments or something.
Yeah. Okay, well, thanks for coming on, Deepak.
Bye.
Okay, let's go to Cookie.
Hi
there. Are you a theist or atheist?
I'm an atheist, unfortunately.
I guess there's a third option, agnostic, but really agnostics are flag-waving, phony atheists. But anyhow, what don't you like about theists?
I think they don't read their Bible, and I think that's a big problem. Because they believe something, and they live their lives according to something, but they don't read it. When I was a Christian, I was surprised at how many Christians didn't read their Bible, and it was a problem that a lot of churches preach about, including mine. But
Do you think if they read their Bible more, they would be more likely to leave Christianity?
Oh, of course. And I think a lot of pastors know that now. And so they don't actually encourage people. Some pastors don't encourage people to read their Bible. They just say, come to church, we'll teach you what's right and what's wrong.
Yeah, I'm not sure I agree with you on that one, because I used to go to a Calvary Chapel church and they would go through the Bible verse by verse. And a lot of Muslim channels, because it's Ramadan right now, they're going through the Quran verse, surah by surah. And I remember just stumbling upon one live stream where they happening to talk about the apostasy issue and fighting the enemy and so forth. And they just read it like there's no problems here. So, what is there something you don't like about atheists?
Well, nothing too. Just the same thing. Some atheists are too. Oh yeah, I do have a problem with flag waving phony atheists who I don't know if I should call it. I forget the word now, but they help theists in their views without knowing the real cost of those views. I don't know if that makes any sense.
No, I didn't follow you there.
Okay, for example, some atheists will say, oh, we have to respect every religion, regardless of what the religion says, even though that religious person may want some kind of religious country.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Some atheists are enabling bad behaviors from theists. We got to respect the Muslims, even though this certain branch of Islam is condoning killing of apostates, that sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
That's exactly.
Okay, very good. I'll let you go, and I'll get to Sebastian.
All right.
And I got Shia on the line. Hi, Sebastian. Oh, hang on. Let me unmute you. Let me mute Shia here and unmute Sebastian. Okay, go ahead.
Hello, Doug.
Hi there. You, I think I recognize your name. Are you an atheist?
I'm an atheist, yes.
Okay, so what don't you like about theists?
I don't. I was wanting to go with the thing the previous caller with the gray beard was going about science, but since this is already taken, I would say their use of source methods or their bad use of source methods, and that when you pin them down in an argument, they don't acknowledge it in any way. Often, not everyone is this way, but
yeah, I think I know what you're saying.
They changed the subject and
avoiding, evasive, basically not conceding, be willing to concede a point ever. It's like usually when that happens to me, I hear the theists say that's a category error. Whenever I hear that phrase category error, I know I've made a good point. or they'll say, I'll be praying for you. That's a sign that that they're stuck.
Yeah.
Is there anything you don't like about atheists?
I would go with when they are aggressive and so on and not nice. But when I was a Christian, it helped me when I was debating often as a teenager, and I debated a bunch of a male and a female atheist for weeks in a forum StudiVZ, or it's an older form of Facebook, and they were open about how good it is to have sex with different people, and I was getting.
Are you German?
I try to keep my tongue down.
If you want, you can just speak German and I'll translate for you. Then you can talk freely.
I have the same problems in German with finding words sometimes. Yeah,
it might be funny if we do it this way. You want just say it in German? Yeah, go ahead. But don't smile, don't laugh. Let's make this serious. Okay, just like do 60 seconds in German.
Okay, ja, also wenn Leute oder Atheisten besser gesagt, die es ist schlimmer als in Englischen.
Yeah, I understand.
Wenn die nicht einen freundlichen Umgang und einen höflichen Umgang pflegen, dann kommt man sich veräppelt vor. Und mir hat es aber damals geholfen. Verstehst du mich noch?
Yeah, I understand. Keep going.
Okay. Ja, also mir hat es damals geholfen, dass dann so auch über mich drüber hinweg geredet wurde und ich gar nicht ernst genommen wurde. Denn so erkannte ich, also so geht es nicht weiter. Ich muss meine Taktik ändern oder ich muss mein Wissen erweitern, um da in Diskussionen noch weiterhin Licht zu sehen.
Yeah, so for the people who weren't listening, and Sebastian, I want no facial expression here. What Sebastian is saying, like he basically turned it back on the theists a little bit, that he was sick and tired of the whack-a-mole that theists do, that the atheist will say something and then the Christian will revert to some other type of argument, and it's just like you're like always pounding different topics back and forth. Now, Sebastian, don't let them know whether I was right or wrong, okay? Okay, well, thanks for Sebastian for coming in. I got a couple other people here. But thanks for speaking German for us. Okay, man, we got a lot of people in here now. Some other type of argument, and it's just like you're like always pounding different. Okay, so we got Chris, Perfect Dawa. I remember you, but Shia's next, and so let me get Shia in here. I can show your face, right, Shia? Yeah. Hang on a second. There you go.
Yeah, it's actually Shay.
Shay. Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah. I'm actually at my work right now, so.
Okay, so what? You're an atheist, right?
Well, why would you guess that?
I can tell by your hair.
Yeah, I'm an atheist amongst a family of Christians, so that's a lot of fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what don't you like about theists?
I was actually thinking about that for a long time, but I think it's a lack of honesty. Like in their position, I don't even really think it's their fault. Maybe they're to blame a little bit, but it seems like I'll have a conversation like with my little sister who's a Christian, and with my brother who's a Christian, and my brother's like more Calvinistic. My sister seems to be like more open-minded about to the possibilities. And I'll be talking to her, explaining my point of view about the Bible, and she'll be agreeing with me the whole way. And then she'll realize that, oh wait, this isn't something that I can believe. And then she'll say something like, something about Jesus, something about the dogma. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it tells you that what the reasons why they believe is not the reasons what you're talking about, right? It's basically they will talk about a certain issue with you and can agree with you that it might not be a good reason, but it just shows that the real reason your sister believes is something else.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, like a personal experience, It's like an emotional reason most of the time.
Yeah. And so you're saying that they're dishonest because they're not letting the atheists know that they're just giving reasons what they think they can maybe defend, or that sounds good, but really it's something else.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, like they don't trust their intuition, I think, enough. If they did trust their own intuition, instead of just trying to remember, like they know it's not a good reason, I feel, most of the time, but they accept it anyways. I don't know. It's hard to explain, I guess.
No, I hear what you're saying, but that's what your accusation is a pretty damning one, I think, for a lot of Christians listening, especially because they'll feel that, you know, to call someone dishonest is like a pretty huge deal. But I do see, I don't think I've outright called a Christian dishonest. Maybe I have. I'll usually use different words. Or I'll phrase it in the form of a question. Are you being honest with me or sincere with me right now? Like, do you really think this is why you believe, or is it something else?
Like they know their explanation is not the most reasonable one, but they accept it anyways.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, something like that.
Okay. Well, thanks for hopping on. I got a lot of people.
Wait, I have something about atheists.
Okay, quickly.
Okay, yeah. Specifically about Matteo Hunty.
Yeah.
Like his IQ is off the charts, and his reason is there, and but I feel like he has an emotional attachment to his arguments, and sometimes that can get in the way of really connecting with your interlocutor, like who you're speaking with.
Yeah.
And that can kind of prevent you from kind of changing their mind if you're attached to your own arguments, instead of just presenting the argument without emotion.
Yeah.
Or maybe with limited emotion.
Yeah, I agree with that. He's definitely more emotional than I am, but I'm pretty dead inside. So,
well, thanks anyways, PineCreek. I really appreciate this call.
Take care. Let's I don't know who was in here next, but so let's go with John.
Hello? Your interlocutor, like you're speaking with.
Make sure you mute yourself when you come in, guys. And yeah, John, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Hello. Yeah, so I am a theist, and I wanted to call in because there are so few theists compared to all these atheists.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
Yeah, so one of the things, especially about theism, that gets my goat is the idea that other people have to believe in your religion. And in America, this becomes a problem when religion and politics gets together. And so if you personally believe that some action is wrong, just don't do it. You know, but the idea that nobody can do it if I don't like it really bothers me, especially.
Well, what if God doesn't like it?
Well, that's, from my understanding, right, everybody is a sinner, right? Everybody is going to do things that God doesn't like. And that's their own personal quest, is to find a way of living their life in a way that they can appreciate and that they believe God will appreciate.
So are you saying that one thing you don't like about theism, even though you're a theist, is evangelicalism?
I personally don't like evangelicalism, but that's not my problem. Like, I understand that some people feel it's important to spread the truth or the word or their beliefs. But it's the idea that society is forced to listen to them and write laws that support them, where it's like, well, I think you went a little bit too far there. You know, you can say that you don't think someone should be doing something, but to then try and have a society write a law that says nobody can do it because I don't like it.
Well, we're definitely agreed there. Name something you don't like about atheism.
There's this belief that, I don't know if I should use that word. There's this idea that sometimes if you're on the right side of an issue, that makes you an inherently better person. And so there, especially with younger people, I think, their atheism is a reaction to their parents' religion or a reaction to society's religion. And so they'll use the same sort of non-thinking that a lot of people get through their day-to-day life with, no matter whether they're theistic or atheistic. but they'll feel like because they're now on the right side, that makes them inherently superior, even though they're committing the same logical fallacies that they love to point out or whatever.
How widespread do you think that is?
But like I said, I think that's a lot with the younger ones who are using atheism as rebellion. I think that people who have sincerely considered their religion and thought, no, this isn't for me, are less likely to do that. But they're not the ones who will necessarily show up and start spamming comments, in YouTube video comment sections, things like that.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, I'll let you go. Thank you for coming on and representing the theists. We got a couple more coming. Just want to say thanks for the donation by Euphonious Flag Wavis. Oh, I love that name. Thank you for the generous donation. And there was another donation, but I missed it. Thank you for that donation as well. Chris. How you doing, Chris?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm an atheist. I've been on here before. So one of the things that I really don't like about, I would say, moderate Christians is that they tend to pretend that extremists don't exist and that they don't agree with them in large part. So yeah, it's like you have Baptists that think that hell houses don't exist, and you have Catholics that think there aren't people killing themselves because,
of guilt and so forth.
Yeah,
I think there are a lot of theists who do speak out against extreme factions of their belief system.
Definitely, yeah.
But yeah, you're basically saying you wish they would do it more.
Yeah, anytime it comes up in debate, it's always the no true Scotsman thing. It's like, well, that's not me, but that is your scriptures,
Yeah. Yeah, I'm reminded of Randall Rouser's new book that is out that it's entitled Jesus Loves the Canaanites. And I tell you, that's a tough sell for him to get across because it's pretty obvious. If you basically had to say the Bible says that God said this, but really he didn't. And I tell you, that opens up a whole can of worms of, the New Testament says that Jesus rose from the dead, but maybe he didn't. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he would say that a lot of his Christian evangelical brothers and sisters in Christ are just way out there and wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Was there anything else?
See. About atheists.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't think about that.
Do you feel like the other caller said that sometimes atheists put on this air of superiority intellectually?
Yeah, we do sometimes, I think. But so does everybody who thinks they're right about something.
Yeah, true. Okay.
That's what he brought up, that atheists, can be mocking in comment sections or whatever, like calling people irrational. It's like, well, that's entailed in us thinking you're wrong about your epistemology is you being irrational. It's not, it doesn't have to be taken as an insult, but we're just presenting it as a fact.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks, Chris, for coming on.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay. The Perfect Dawa. I'll unmute you here. How are you doing today?
Yeah, hello, hi. I'm fine, thank you. Just wanted to say, last time you were saying something about my dialogue with you, and I wanted to correct you. First of all, about the subject today, I would like to say that what I don't like in atheism is that you don't have the purpose of life, and what is it?
But that's more about the worldview. Like, is there something specific that atheists do or say that you don't like?
No, it's mostly about purpose of life. Okay.
Okay.
And what I was saying last time, the purpose of life is that we are created like animals and living in a jungle, and God has tried to, because He loves us, He has tried to.
Yeah, I understood that. I understood all that, and I get it.
No, but I want to tell you one thing. You said that capitalism is so good that He keep it for next life. Yeah, I want to explain for you that.
No,
that
it's okay. It's okay. I was kind of joking as well. So
no,
don't.
I understand. No, I would like to explain it for you.
No,
Okay, if you
I
would
don't
like.
want to. Sorry. I like you, Perfect Dawa, but I don't
Thank
want to
you.
hear it.
Yeah,
What
thank
I do
you.
want to hear from you is what don't you like about? You're a Muslim, yes?
Yes, yes.
So
I
what don't?
converted to Islam. I was atheist myself.
Okay, so what don't you like about Muslims when they interact with atheists?
There are lots of problems. Yeah, of course, many Muslims, they just, not only Muslims in all religion, they just blindly follow, okay? Like, for example, the Satan I was talking, they just think what it is written there, it has to be exactly that one. They don't analyze it, okay? And do you understand? So they don't analyze, they just follow blindly, what is written in the text. But they don't, I was analyzing it. For example, Satan, I was saying that, thinking that why God should.
That's a pretty harsh criticism. You're basically saying,
Yeah.
calling your Muslim brothers and sisters as being kind of like sheep.
I mean, not everyone, but lots of them, there are, I say in all religions, but in Islam as well, there are lots of people who can't open their mind, okay? It is difficult, and some of them are afraid even, to say that, okay, I don't believe in this, I don't believe in that.
Why do you think they're afraid?
Some of them are, for example, scholars. Many of them, they are businessmen. Okay, the religion is their business, so they are afraid to lose their followers. Okay.
Oh, you shouldn't be speaking truth.
Yes,
you're going to hurt some people.
Thank you. Can I ask you what is your profession, if I can ask?
I'm a financial analyst.
Okay, your parents, they send you to university for your future to study something, okay? And their parents, these scholars, their parents send them also to religious schools so that in the future they can earn money through religion, okay? It is their job in the future. Even if they don't like it, for example, in Sweden, we have a lot of atheist, priests, who go to the church and they preach despite they don't believe, because it is their job. They're making money, okay? So there are lots of these people that are, businessmen. It is their job to preach, okay?
So you're saying they should maybe take money out of all religion, right?
It's all religion. I remember even in India, I was Hindu priests. They were, they were,
Uh-oh. I just lost my room here. What is going on? I was wondering because Whereby usually allows me 4 seats and I had 50. So why are they... Did they change their protocol? This room is unavailable for now. This Whereby room, free room has reached 45 minutes. They did change it. Wow. It's no longer... Let me try one thing here. Interesting. Whereby, you know how much business I've given you, and you do this to me? Unbelievable. I had like 7 or 8 people in here waiting. They're all gone. Yeah, they did do it. Interesting. Okay, let me get rid of this link and I'll put a new link in and we'll just go for a little longer. So I gotta unpin that. Here's a new room. No, I tried StreamYard Read. I hated it. Why did I hate it? Because it didn't work well with XSplit. Okay. Hey, Travis, you're muted. There you go.
Hey.
There you are. So name some things you don't like about, you're an atheist. Name some things you don't like about theists.
Special pleading. They basically think that faith is a good way for them to come to truth, but they never acknowledge that faith is the main reason every other religion is used or is thought of as true. Oh wait,
Okay.
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
Oh wait, no, I can hear you. Yeah.
But some of them would say though that faith is trust based on evidence. So what would you say to that?
Well, the evidence isn't scientific. There are no novel testable predictions. And they say it has evidence, but it's always unreliable testimony and stuff.
Okay. Yeah, and then they would say, well, you're just you believe in scientism or something like that.
Yeah. And it's like, well, you look both ways when you cross the street. Like, you believe in scientism too, because you know what blunt force trauma and speed is. So,
yeah. Is there anything you don't like about atheism?
Yeah, I don't think we should be so... I think we should be more positive in our claims by saying that we know religions are made up. And if that's the case, then we should be saying, like, you know, there's no difference really between a fantasy book and a religion other than people saying it's true. So, like, could we... we should be more positive saying that gods don't exist. And I don't really like being like, let's pussyfoot around the idea of it.
So you're saying there should be more hard atheists?
Yeah, more hard atheists, more Gnostic atheists. I mean, like, when the theist says, "Oh, I have faith that God exists," just say, "I have faith that I'm a god." And it's the same way.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the thing is, what if there is a God out there, some type of God that will reveal himself in the year 2121 or something? Like, we still want to be open to evidence, and I think it's pretty hard to prove it or demonstrate that God doesn't exist. But I hear what you're saying, that for now, based on the knowledge we do have, there's no good reason.
Well, I'm also an agnostic, which means I don't know any definitions of God that like actually work. So when they say, "Oh, it's a immaterial being," I'm like, that means it doesn't exist, right? And they're like, no, it's immaterial or it's non-physical. So I drill down into those definitions and I realize they don't really know what they're talking about. And I feel like, we should be more confident in asserting that.
Oh, let's see here. We got Adam, Perfect Dawa. I already talked to you, Perfect Dawa, so I'm going to let you go. And let's see here. Adam, we'll try you. Hello, how are you doing?
Good. 7 out of 10, as you would say. So I'm an atheist, but one thing that bothers me about many atheists, and this is probably going to bother you for me bringing it up, but is how atheists are very willing and like to be to think about ethical issues, and they're willing to think about religious issues with critical thinking skills. But when it comes to animal ethics, I just find many atheists just don't want to honestly engage on the topic, and I can't even talk to a lot of them because they don't want to talk to me about it. But I find with theists, it's easier to talk to them because they're happy to invoke the God card and all that. But yeah, that's just one
the God
thing
card. What do you
bothers
mean? With how does the God card come into play with animal ethics?
Oh, they just they just try to base their morality in God and say it's fine because God says it is. Then I enjoy engaging with them on that because then you get into moral philosophy. But yeah, anyway, that's my complaint. So.
And what's your complaint against theists?
Probably what the caller said a minute ago is special pleading. A lot of the Kalam arguments and all those, what T-Jump does on those, like, just kind of points out how they special plead, and we can do the same thing. So, yeah.
Okay, thanks for calling in.
Thanks.
And let's see here. Your best buddy, go ahead.
Hello.
Hi.
So I guess to go fast and cover both sides, what bothers me about both sides is that it makes me question everything because everyone is so confident in what they think that I'm just like, it looks to me that this is ridiculous what you believe, yet you are basing your whole life on it. I mean, we've gone through all this stuff, you know, like not to be offensive, but like even with like critical race theory, there's some stuff where I'm like, how can you get to that level? And then I'm just like, am I in this level with something right now? Is there something like to me that is like that I believe that is ridiculous, but that, you know,
well, for some theists, they're confident because God has revealed it to them in a way that they can be confident. So what would you say to that?
That's true. Well, so I guess my struggle with that for myself would be, it's like, so yeah, it's like, you know, it's kind of resorting to almost like a solipsistic take on everything, where it's like everything through my eyes, it's like, you know, brain in a jar, where it's like God interacted with me is the equivalent of brain in a jar for theists, I think.
Do you think we should never be confident about things?
I'm not saying we shouldn't. I'm just saying that it's hard for me to be. Actually, you know what? I would say we should never be confident to 100%. In fact, I was thinking that like with political discussions, that whenever you're talking about the Democrats or the Republicans, that it should be like common courtesy to just always say most. Because I feel like, you know, we understand that it is most. Not all Democrats and, you know, Republicans and atheists and whatever are like a hive mind. But there's just probably this thing going on in our head that likes us kind of generalize to the point where we do think that it is everyone at one point. And so, I don't know.
Okay. So besides, you think both atheists and theists are both overconfident. Is there anything else you don't like about theists?
Yeah.
Name one, quickly.
Name one? Okay, quickly. I would say it's the hindrance of education and science, where it's like evolution is so obvious with so many different facts supporting it, and it's so useful in so many different scenarios, and it gets in the way. But there's one thing I do like.
Okay, in your complaints mostly against the young Earth creationists, those types.
Yeah, that would probably be against that. But
okay,
the thing that I do like about theists really fast is that it does push people to defend those things better. Because I think that if we don't have people pushing against our ideas, that they get out of whack. So that would be the thing I like about both sides.
Yeah, good, healthy dialogue, and yeah, I agree with that. Okay, well, thanks for hopping on.
Thank you.
Jerome, you're muted, so you can unmute yourself.
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm all right, man.
Are you a theist or an atheist or no,
atheist, man?
Atheist?
Yeah.
What don't you like about theists when you talk to them?
Well, it was going to be that thing that Ray said earlier about the whole PhD thing, where they expect like way too much out of you, when their explanations are like nothing, right? But what I kind of want to talk about is it's like the whole moral extremism thing, where if you do this one little thing, you're just out of their group entirely. So, like
tribalism.
Basically, tribalism is kind of annoying, and like it's weirder in their case because they're supposed to have like a book that's like divinely inspired, right? Where they should be able to like agree on all this stuff. But it's the criticism is going to be the same for like us, right? Where in our case it's kind of worse because we don't really have that. Can you hear that sound?
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit, but I can still hear you. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
We don't have a book.
Yeah, so yeah. Well, it's not that we don't have a book. It's that we should probably be better with the tribalism, right? Because we don't have that book telling us that this God thinks that, right?
Yeah.
It's like that thing that happened with like Richard Dawkins a few days ago with like that American humanist organization. Yeah, they just like banned it, right? Where talking like, to the people who agree with him would probably have been better. But instead, like he was banned, and like the optics of that like really bad because now everyone's gonna be like, oh, these people disagree now and they can't talk rationally about all this stuff. So,
yeah, if your goal is to try to bring down this whole idea of tribalism and then you do stuff like that, it's like you're not really a part of the. Well, no, I don't think they'd say atheist. They'd say humanist. You're not a real humanist if you say the things Dawkins does and so forth. But yeah, and I've been trying to push back against that and saying, hey, there's nothing Dawkins said I disagreed with, and so if you're going to cancel him, cancel me as well. Join. More people should be willing to be canceled. In fact, we should make it a goal to be canceled. I mean, like make it like a badge on your shirt. I think the whole cancel culture thing is like it's pretty much over already. Didn't work for the Muslims when they tried it on me. So
hey, that's what I was saying. Exactly. I only got you more viewers, man.
Exactly. Well, thanks for hopping on, Jerome.
Yeah, man. Sure, man. See ya.
Take care. Pio, is that how you say your name? Let me unmute you here. Oh, you muted yourself.
Yeah. Now it's working.
How are you doing?
Oh, I'm perfectly fine. Like your show and stuff.
Thank you. Are you a theist or an atheist or something else?
I'm an atheist, but I kind of like one specific religion because of my roots, right? So I like the philosophy of it, but not the rituals or the message.
Okay.
But that's not the thing, because the question is what I like and what I don't like about theists and atheists.
Oh, no, the question is what you don't like. I really don't care what you like, but...
No.
What don't you like about theists and what don't you like about atheists when they interact with each other?
Yes, and this goes to both sides. It's like I'm very often in different Discord servers and talk to people, and there are often younger guys who just come in and say, yeah, I've heard about this and this argument. Can somebody give me a link so I can rebuttal this, right? So I'm on a Muslim server and a guy, oh, this Christian said that to me. Everybody please search for the counter argument. And this happens on all sides. And so the people are not really talking about the stuff. They are just going there. No. Right? They are going then to have an argument or, just to kind of fight, which doesn't lead to any
yeah, I guess it's just a form of entertainment at that point, right? It's like just wrestling intellectually back and forth, and really just finding links and regurgitating things you've heard is not really thinking. It's just regurgitating what you've heard. And so I like to promote people to think, and that's what I think street epistemology does, to critically examine what you believe and why.
Oh, can you mute yourself? I'm sorry, because I'm hearing background noises from a guy maybe who was here in the chat.
Oh, I'm not hearing
all
anything.
The time.
He's muted.
I'm hearing like clock sound stuff.
Maybe it's you have another tab open.
Okay.
But was there something else you wanted to say? What you don't like besides the sparring?
No. That was all. This was the question. So yeah.
Okay.
So
how long have you been an atheist?
My whole life.
Okay. But you said there was some fragment of it that you liked?
Yeah, I'm from Jewish background, so my parents were kind of religious, right? And of course, I know a lot about this stuff, and I know about arguments.
Do you read and write Hebrew?
No.
Okay. That'd be useful for me. That'd be useful for me sometimes. Do your parents?
My mom can do it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, thanks for hopping on.
Yeah.
Take care.
No problem. You're welcome.
Hi, Bay.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
I'm still on.
Yeah, you're gonna have to just hit the XPO.
Okay. Hey, Doug, how you doing?
I'm doing well. So what don't you like about theists? I guess in your case, it's mostly Muslims,
no,
right?
I would actually say what I don't like about atheists.
Okay, what don't you like about atheists?
The one thing I don't like about atheism is just the uncertainty. Like, you don't have the answers for big picture, like the bigger, huge questions, you know?
What?
Like I mean, I'm just saying from my sense, like, what created everything? Why are we? You know, those existential
I can
questions.
answer any big question you have. Go ahead, fire.
I can answer any big question you have. Go ahead, Okay.
fire.
So yeah, so that's my thing, right? Okay. So why are we here?
Why are we here? The answer to that question is there is no answer to that question.
That's it. There's no answer. At least with the theist side, whatever
It's
fake
a
answer,
malformed
whatever,
question.
at least, huh?
It's a malformed question. The
Yeah.
question is irrelevant.
Yeah, but I'm saying at least from the theist side, at least whatever answer they make up, you know, at least that's a platform which gives them an answer, and then they move on from that answer. From the atheist side, it's always like, well, we don't have an answer to that, or that's not even a good question, or like, you know, the
those existential.
I'm hearing myself.
Yeah. It's I fixed it. So another way I could answer that is why are we here? Is because we have to be. It's
Somebody
necessary.
in the back or the studio has a mic open, so I can hear you talking. I think they have a tab open or something. Okay, now it's better. Okay.
Yeah.
So and that's one thing. Second thing is like, okay, what let's say what create we know infinite regress is not possible in that sense, the way it's said. What was the beginning? You know, we know, okay, Big Bang, but okay, and then what? You understand? Like,
Yeah.
it's just and then the second thing I was like, okay, theists have a support, something they can say. Like just recently somebody told me their father just died, right? As soon as they said that to me, I couldn't say anything back to them. Everybody else is like, oh, it's okay, and you will see them in the afterlife, and all these other things that you can say to the person to console them in that sense and all that. And when he came to me, I'm like, yeah, okay, your father died. I mean, just be strong, you know, take care of your family.
Well, if he was
Like,
suffering, you can say, well, the suffering stopped.
right. But I mean, all you're just saying, even if you say, okay, his suffering is stopped, but then there's still this like emptiness of like, what can you tell that person? And if that person is a theist, right, you can't, from your perspective, say anything to him without sounding insincere. Like if
Yeah.
I can say it like, okay, hey, you know what's going through my mind is like, hey, he was alive, he's dead, lights off, there's nothing gonna happen, you're gonna die also
But
at one
sometimes
time.
that might be what people need. Like
Yeah,
to look at
if the
someone
other
in the
person-
face and say, your loved one is dead and will never, ever come back.
Yeah, but
And
imagine that happening at a funeral. Somebody, like, everybody's crying, everybody's like emotional, and your answer is like, "Hey, he's dead. He's dead." Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think this is why we evolved with religion, because it's for some people this is so painful. For most people, it's so painful that you need this hope of an eternal life and so forth. But yeah, I get it. The atheism doesn't give people an afterlife. It doesn't give them hope that they'll see their loved ones again. And sure, you can say that, oh, the reason why we're here is because God wanted it. But you could also say the reason why we're here is because the universe is necessary. Like the whole idea of
that sort of answer leaves much to be desired for. Like, you know, it's not fulfilling as an answer. You know,
Yeah.
it just that you can give that answer, and unless the other person is on the same mindset of like he understands how the universe is this and your same thought process, if he doesn't have that, and if he's just a theist and all he's thinking about is like God made this and, you know, heaven and hell and he did the good and sit with us, pray for him and all that, if that's all his perspective, I mean, you can't really say all of that stuff to him.
So do you wish you were a theist then?
No, I wish we had a better answers for some of the, like, I understand where we are right now. Like, I was a theist and now I am not, because I understand the bigger picture, like how religions develop over time as a support structure and all that. Now that I understand, but still there are certain parts where I'm like, I wish we had better answers, like, you know, to certain
like
things.
For me, these questions don't bother me, and I don't know why. And I think maybe people are just different, like these big questions. But I am open. Like if there is a creator God out there, or gods who created everything, hey, all you have to do is light my water-soaked napkin, let me know you're here. You know, like,
Mhm.
don't give me this 2,000-year-old text or 1,400-year-old text.
I agree. I like the religious part. Like if you go with all the religions and the theology, it doesn't make sense. That's fine. But the other question I have in my mind that always like, let's say there is a creator and he made all of us, like, or if he made the universe, let's say, like, would he just make it and just that's it? Or why would it, it just bothers you in your mind. Like if you actually go with that line saying, okay, well, there could be a creator, then other questions that come into mind is like, so why would there be a creator making all this universe, all this space, all these galaxies and all that, and then have us in there and all that stuff? Like, why? You know, those, you don't have the answers for that type of question. So that really bothers me in that sense,
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for
All
coming,
right.
hopping on, Bay.
Thanks, Bay. Take care. Bye.
Martin van der Koich. Is that how you say it? Oh, you got to unmute yourself.
Is the original uitspraak. Yeah.
Okay, so what don't you like about atheists or theists? Are you an atheist or theist?
Well, I'm actually still a member of a church, but I wouldn't call me a believer anymore.
Okay, so you're not a believer anymore, but you wouldn't call yourself an atheist?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Well, I'm living here in the Netherlands, and what I notice is that a lot of people just think believers are just stupid.
Oh, so one thing you don't like about atheists is they say theists are stupid.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just not the way that they're just another, they just have another starting point.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's definitely, theists who are doctors and lawyers, but there's also Scientologists and Mormons and other beliefs that are doctors and lawyers. So yeah, intelligence doesn't mean you're more likely to be a theist or not. So
yeah, it's just more clever ways to deceive yourself.
Yeah, that's true. The more intelligent you are, the more you can deceive yourself. What don't you like about theists?
Well, it's a kind of way of thinking that it's just a catch-all. Then you just say, God knows.
Just a
Why does it happen? Well, God knows what's best for me, and that will just everything will go all right.
Oh yeah, basically any question you can just answer.
God.
The God answer. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like how did we get DNA? God. What's the purpose of life?
Yeah.
God. It's like
Yeah, and then just explaining everything with that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for hopping on, Martin. I got a lot of people here, and I want to wrap up in about 20 minutes.
Yeah. Okay.
Take care.
Have a good day.
Hey, Chad, you're next.
All right, so just a little bit about me. I'm an atheist myself. I think, honestly, I kind of I'm happy to be one. I've been one for a few years now. I think just the thing is, I kind of have problems with both atheists and theists. I would say, I think believing in Jesus is not a rational belief, but the problem I have is when I see a lot of people convert to or deconvert to atheism is that it's a lot of times it's the really reason why they believe in Jesus in the first place. It's like, well, we got to ask ourselves, it's not just the belief, but why is it believed as well? And I think that a lot of atheists do a great job with it, but a lot of atheists don't do so well at this. And that's one of the things that I wanted to bring
your
up.
voice kind of muffled a little bit. What don't atheists do well?
Well, I think the problem is, sorry about that. Yeah, I'm on a phone right now, but I think one of the things I don't really see atheists doing, I would say all atheists, I would say some do, some don't, is understanding the why it's believed. It's not because of a rational belief, but it's because of why is it believed? Is it because a lot of people like to say there's that God-filled hole in your heart, but I think that's kind of there's a point to be made, but I think it's kind of ridiculous. It's basically the emotional connection people have with wanting to believe in God.
I see. Yeah. So you're saying atheists should
pretty-
understand that there's these emotional factors out there, and not try to always push the intellectual stuff.
Yeah, like or do both. It's like what the Stoics said was ethos, pathos, and logos. The gotta have the appeal to emotion, but we also gotta have the appeal to logic, but also the appeal to emotion and the appeal to credibility. So if you're saying like, well, Jesus does not exist, but just say like something like, in this case, I don't want to go into full detail, but just say like, well, did you believe in? I believed in Jesus at one point. I understand where you're coming from. It's like, it doesn't necessarily have to be like a Joel Osteen sermon, but you gotta have at least an understanding.
And what don't you like about theists?
So one of the problems with theists, I think, is that it's kind of, I would say it's very much the same thing. I think very much a lot of the time it's like it's I think I kind of taught it up earlier. It's like it's very much an emotional appeal to something. It's not like wow, I came into this and I really believed in Jesus Christ. And I just say, if you want to believe in Jesus, and if you want to, by all means, it's your right to believe whatever you want, and I respect it. But a lot of times they have to go push everybody. Hey, like Lee Strobel, I was an atheist. These are how atheists are wrong. It's like that's kind of what I get a little, okay, you want to be a Christ believer, by all means, it's your life. But
yeah,
if you
I'm
want to
kind of
go
sick of
around
that
saying
too.
crap
It's like
that,
I really get turned off when people say I used to be an atheist, now I'm a Christian. I used to be a Christian and now I'm an atheist. It really doesn't mean that much. But anyhow, yeah, thanks for hopping on, Chad.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
My one black friend is here. Let's see here. Did I mute you or did you mute yourself? Oh, there, I can hear you now. Go ahead.
You can hear me now? Okay. First of all, hello and hello everybody. I've written down a few things. What offends me probably the most is defending their position to the point of dishonesty, to where they're lying and they know they're lying and they do it anyway. Earlier today, I was watching James White and Kwaku again. Your take on their interview, if you will, and I was just amazed to see where White isn't telling you things he knows. He's hiding things. I've seen this all over the map from theists. Another thing is a fear of being wrong. As an atheist who has read the Bible and studied other religions, I'm not afraid of being wrong about my position if there is a God. And to me, your Indian viewers who are Hindus have the best trump card in their deck because they have Brahma, who said all people who have inadvertently worshipped other gods inadvertently worshipped me. That's the best card to have in your deck if you have a religion, because he's not excluding anybody. No, you're all included, and I got you. Probably also not being able to view the Bible as literature. I think a tremendous amount of meaning is lost if you have to accept that it's the word of a God.
Well, some Christians view it as literature when it comes to the Canaanites and the flooding and the creation accounts. This is just literature. This is not what actually happened.
Well, of course, we both know why they do that. They do that because they don't want to see anything that their God does as bad. We can go right back to and isn't it refreshing? You look refreshed. Sparkly guys, ladies and gentlemen. We can go right back to the Noah's flood. They don't want to see that as a bad thing that God has done. Although the Bible itself says murder is wrong. But since God created them, it's not murder. I would argue it still is murder. There's a picture of my little brother and myself as kids lying on our bellies playing with toys. And in my hand, I'm holding an action figure. If my action figure was sentient and I knew it, there are adventures it never would have had where I placed it in great danger and it got run over by a Tonka truck or something like that. Those things simply wouldn't have happened because I naturally would have cared for the health and welfare of my action figure. Now, if we can't mean that much to the God in heaven, if we're just some of us vessels of wrath fitted for destruction, he's a jerk. I could use stronger language, but this is for your kids.
Yeah. So, but with interactions between atheists and theists, what bothers you so far, I've heard you say, is how they treat the Bible, not viewing it as just literature.
Mhm.
Although I think a lot of Christians or theists would agree with you on that one. And what was the other one?
Well,
Dishonesty.
Dishonesty, defending it to the point of, again, they know they're wrong. They know they're taking a weaker point of view than I have. When you or Matt Dillahunty or myself say we can make the Bible better just by removing slavery, just by literally putting a prohibition against slavery, it's automatically better. Well, how come your God didn't think of that on page 1? Wouldn't that be a great thing to put on page 1? Hey, don't rape anybody. Page 1.
Yeah, try not to rape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's remarkable to me that I am consistently proving myself to be a better thinker than the God of the Bible. And yet the Christian sitting directly across from me in conversation can't see that they are too. Can't see that their own modern morality exceeds the morality of the God in the
Well,
Bible.
this is the purpose of my poofer and drown question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And what about atheists? What about, let's pick on them for a little bit. What don't you like about atheists?
I don't like when people are mean. I don't like it. That is, often we are talking with people who are talking about their most cherished beliefs. As an ex-girlfriend pointed out to me, when somebody proselytized me when she and I were out, that person is not ready for you to take away their belief in God. That's not why they're talking to you. They're worried about your immortal soul suffering for eternity in hell. I also have better ideas than hell. But anyway.
So you don't like
right.
you don't like the Matt Dillahunties or the Aaron Ra's of the world?
I think we need them. You make this point as well. We need all the different approaches, if you will. I disagree when I see Matt Dillahunty get his dander up and he starts using foul language and things like that. There are people who will only respond to that. And me not being one of them, I want him to find a more peaceful, approachable way to respond. And he's proven that he can do it. He's definitely got that skill and probably is better at it than I will ever be. But that isn't always what we see out of him.
Yeah.
But
what about what I do with sarcasm? I'm often very sarcastic.
This is why I'm here.
Uh-oh.
I actually love your sarcasm and stuff. Again, if we're looking at, let's say there's a spectrum, I simply fit in a different place in the spectrum than a Dillahunty, as do you. And maybe I'm more near your position. I'm happy if I see the situation is okay to joke, to kid around, to tease them, but I don't want to go too far. And I don't think you do either.
Yeah, usually I build rapport.
You do build rapport, which, as you know, for closing a sale, you must. You must build rapport. And
the problem is after the fact, I let them know that I built rapport on purpose, and then I sometimes get flack for that. But
I think you're still right to do that. Why? Because if a person, when the Jehovah's Witness or the Mormon knocks on my door, they don't know that they're getting an atheist. And I'm happy to let them do their proselytizing because it's something that they may be nervous about, that they're trying to get better at. And again, they are there to rescue me from Satan, who doesn't even live on my street. But they want me to be okay. They want me to celebrate the afterlife in heaven with them. And even, I'll say, life down here on earth. They want me sitting in the kingdom hall next to them or at the temple next to them, being as joyful and as happy as they are. So I let them give me their pitch, and then I tell them what I think of what they've told me. And I'll let them know I'm actually an atheist, but if you want to stay here because people are watching you and they're holding you accountable, you're in a safe place. I'm not going to beat you up about what you believe. And if you want to tell me more, feel welcome to. And the size of relief, you just see the shoulders just sink. Because they're so happy that they don't have to be nervous about being in my presence. Even though it's clear they don't even challenge me past I'm an atheist. They're just they'll stand there and keep talking about something else.
Yeah, I think sometimes people forget how nervous these missionaries are when they knock on doors. Like, it's this very scary thing what they're doing, really. That takes a lot of courage.
Yes.
Maybe us atheists should do that, you know, just knock on doors and say, have you heard the good news that there's no God?
That there's no God. And you can be a magical part of society right now and make the world a better place through your own actions. We have some literature for you. If you'd like to become acquainted with our principles, we'd like to let you know. It's pretty much you make it up as you go along. You take what you like. It's very a la carte. And that's one of the things I myself like about it. Yeah, I've often wondered if the free thinking group that I'm with in California, if we shouldn't go door to door doing that, because I'm fully convinced 50% of the population of this country is atheist or agnostic.
What percentage?
50.
You think 50% of the United States is atheist?
50. Yes, I do. When we talk about, when the subject of God comes up, if you were to define God by the Christian God, the God of Islam, God,
are you saying atheist in respect to some God?
No, I'm saying most people have a God that's sort of like, it's attached to almost nothing. Well, something created all of this, and that's the God.
I see.
The God doesn't have a name, it doesn't live anywhere, and it hasn't written any books. Something is, I guess, if it had a name, something would be the name. So they believe, I guess, it's sort of a deist, right?
Or an igneist, maybe, like not caring. There's a lot of people who just don't care about the question at all.
I think that's more to the point. More people just don't care. They'd rather talk to you about something else, and they'd be happier for it.
Yeah. Hey, I got to run here.
Sure. Thank you for the great show.
Yeah, take care.
You too.
So I got 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 5 people who want to come on, but they're not showing their face. They're flag waving phonies. So I say goodbye. Okay, I'm going to focus on the chat a little bit. Let's see here. I was kidding about going door to door. I don't think that would be a good sell. Did we miss anything? Just rapid fired 3 words. What don't you like about theists or atheists? Tag me. I think we hit on most of them. Things like special pleading, dishonesty, special pleading, rudeness, mocking, I should live stream in June when Capturing Christianity interviews Lee Strobel. What bad arguments did you use as a Christian? Probably the historical arguments. Oh, I used the trilemma argument when I was a Christian. Liar, lunatic, or Lord. And then recently, you realize that Muslims use it, Mormons use it. Joseph Smith was either lying, he was either a lunatic, or he was someone who talked to Jesus and got the real gospel. What sparked the topic for today's stream? I think Rationality Rules was talking about it. Capturing Christianity was talking about it. Atheists, the religion of wokeness, is what I hate. Yeah, I think wokeness is dying. Christians and atheists alike not knowing that the true history of Christianity, why don't we talk about that? Like how it developed and so forth? How the Bible got canonized? Canadian Catholic, why do you still use garbage arguments? Yeah, this is one thing I don't like about theists, is what Canadian Catholic just said. It's like, it's just a throwaway junior high school thing to say. I hate that most theists are ignorant about how their own holy book came to be and who wrote it. I like the theme of your show today. It was an open dialogue that you rarely see in this. Thank you. You're welcome, Zachary. Vincus doesn't like gaslighting. I've never been too concerned about gaslighting. Gaslighting only affects people who are very, very vulnerable, in my opinion. But maybe that's most people. I don't know. And if you are a vulnerable person emotionally, then you should not be talking to people online, talking to strangers online. Arrogance of Christians, said Sunshine. Well, they believe they have the truth. But they should speak the truth in humility, says this New Testament. Should Christians debate each other to figure out what Christianity is? Yeah, there's a good debate topic. What is true Christianity? Is it just believing a man rose from the dead, or is it more? Blaster Master shunning of others is something that bothers me about theists. Yeah, the tribalism. Too much philosophy. Yeah, that's a problem in theism. Sitting on a chair and creating God in your own image. Do I start at similar times each Thursday? Yeah, I would say so, Franklin. I'm surprised you didn't call in. Thanks to everyone who called in. I'll try to maybe do something like this next Thursday. So if you want to call in, I tend to let people on who show their face. The face is the part above the shoulders. And I'm open to even having apologists on. But apologists like Trent Horn, they need a moderator. So, because I'm dangerous. I don't know why I'm so dangerous. Maybe it's because I'm just too darn likable. Have a great day, guys. Thanks for any donations I missed, and I know I missed a lot, but I thank you and I appreciate it.